How's it going? Charles Botenston. I just want to make a quick video, and I know that I say quick video every single time, and it turns out to be about 8 minutes. So this is something I've been following. This guy, Bucky Fuller, Buckminster Fuller, highly recommend. And this guy, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And Dr. Wayne Dyer came out with a book called Shift, or a movie called Shift, or The Shift. And I just watched it yesterday. It was amazing. And it's essentially shifting in your mind from needing things to everything's perfect. Everything where it is, who comes into your life, and what happens to your life is absolutely perfect. And I know right now you're thinking, oh God, here he goes. He's on this fairy dust of just perfectness. But if you think about it, literally everything we do is trying to chase something on the outside. We are literally trying to chase happiness, success, money, a relationship. And then within that, say success. Okay, I get success. What's success? Like what is it to you? What is it to someone else? So you say, I want to be successful. Okay, great. Define successful. Okay, say tomorrow I give you that exact plan. You want $100,000, you want your dream job, and you're doing it right now. You have your dream job making $100,000. Or you have your dream job and you're making $500,000 and you're creating and everyone knows who you are. Whatever it is, think of your exact plan. Just think about it. Okay, great. So for myself would be creating content, creating and also having my job, which is real estate, having both of them just completely intertwined. I'm also speaking, writing books, just all day creation. That's what I think is successful. All right. So say I get that tomorrow and then I keep on doing it. There will be a time, the law of familiarity, where I just become so familiar. This is my life. This is who I am. This is who I'm being, that I get bored. I know for there's so much certainty in my life that I know for sure what is going to be happening today and tomorrow. Okay? Then when I reach that, I'm going to want more. It's like someone that has trained their entire life to make it to the professional leagues. Then they make it to the professional sport of their choice, say football or hockey or whatever. I'm wearing a nice Islanders hat. They make it to the NHL. And now their new goal is to be starting consistently on a professional sports team. Okay, great. You're now starting. Now you're on the first line. In other words, you're one of the best players on the team. Then your new goal, because you're bored of that, is to make the playoffs. Let's make the playoffs as a team. Now we made the playoffs. Great. Let's win a series. We won a series. Okay, great. Now let's win a couple more series. Let's try and get the Stanley Cup. Let's try and get the Super Bowl. Let's try and win the FIFA World Cup. It's the same thing with the Olympics or school. It's like, great, I mastered one subject. Let's try and move it on to another. What I'm saying is that if you continuously put your happiness, your achievement, your identity, this is really what it comes down to, and I'll get to this in a second. If you consistently put everything on the outside, you will never be fulfilled on the inside. If you consistently put who you are on the outside, in other words, I see it all the time. The beautiful girls on Instagram, and they have, say, millions of followers. Their identity is that person, and every photo in their Instagram stream is a professional modeling photo. That's their identity. They can't look bad. There's no photo of them in regular clothes taking a selfie. It's always in a bikini or in tight clothes or a dress or with someone famous. So their identity. So this is the biggest thing, is what is your identity? You're tying your identity, and this, I could go really, really deep with you and say everything comes down to the ego. And the ego with a capital E is essentially making decisions. What do I wear? Who do I talk to? How long do I stay in the conversation? What do I do? Do I continue in this job? Do I go to the gym? Do I eat well? Your ego is literally running your life. It is literally running every decision that you make. It is running what achievement is. Success to me is, say, $500,000. To someone else, it's $10 million. To someone else, it's $50 million. If Bill Gates or Warren Buffett made $500,000 in a year, that's a really bad year. They probably went into debt for that year. In other words, not like in totalitarian, but for that year, just based on their spending. So success, so what does that mean? Is that if success is subjective, in other words, if success is based on each person individually, then how do you get to success? That's the biggest thing, is that you have to believe in your core, yourself, capital S, self, yourself, without the ego, and I'll talk about that in a second, is successful. You are perfect the way you are. Not in an ego, not in a selfish way, but you're fine. You're fine how it is. Everything that happens is perfect. Who comes into your life, who leaves your life, how much money you make, how much money you don't make. It is all perfect. It's all happening for you. It's not happening to you. Okay? Huge difference. So when you say that, oh, this is bad, please define bad. What we created the meanings of good, bad, successful, achievement, awards, first place, second place, everything else. I'm not saying not to go for what you want, but just keep in mind is when you get it, if you get it, you're going to want more. And then when is more? When is enough money enough money? This is a really important topic. I'm like, this is big. When is enough money enough money? That's the biggest thing, is that someone will make $100,000 and now they want 200. Someone will make 200, now they want 500. When is it enough? You have to know everything that you have. Who you are right now is perfect. You are fine the way you are. You don't need to be fixed. When someone says, I need to make a certain amount of money and then I'll be happy, or once I have 100,000 Instagram followers, my life will be complete. Okay, great. I will give you that 100,000 Instagram followers. Are you complete? No. Actually, I want more. Or because you're putting it on the outside, because you're putting it on the external, you will never be complete. You have to be content with who you are right now. This is extremely deep. The best way to put it actually is you have two people. You have the self, which is completely fine. You've been in the self, which is, I don't want to put in quotes because it's real. The self is bliss. The self is you doing something in the present time, in flow, where you just lose yourself. That's yourself. You're not trying to look good. You're not doing something because someone else wants you to do it. You're doing it because you want to do it, and you just lost yourself. It could be when you played a sport, or you're singing, or you're playing a musical instrument, or you're in a conversation, or you're in nature, or something where there is no ego. It's just empty space, and you're just creating that very moment. Okay? What does this boil down to? I could make a whole series about this, but really the biggest thing is, if you put anything on the external, anything, I post this photo for acceptance on social media. I need to go to medical school because my parents want me to go to medical school. I believe this certain opinion because society tells me to believe in this. That is your ego speaking. Your ego wants you to survive. It doesn't care about yourself. Your ego wants you, and ego is not the actual definition. It's kind of like the bad part of you, where you're making decisions, and when you make that decision, you get this like, I didn't really want to do that kind of decision. Like you take a trip, and you said yes to something, say an event, or a date, or a second date, or a job, or a relationship, friends, whatever, doesn't matter. But you make that decision, and then you get that internal feeling of like, or you're in a conversation and someone starts talking about something that you might not agree with, or that it's your boss telling you to do something, and you just have this inkling, this intuition, which is the intuition is the self, by the way. It's not the ego. You have this intuition that, and by the way, it's self with a capital S and ego with a capital E. You just have this inkling, you're talking to your boss, you're like, and you have this opinion or maybe an idea that you want to share. But because your ego is saying, no, you need this job, shut your mouth and do this, you don't talk up, you don't offer your opinion, you don't offer your advice, or maybe a second opinion or whatever. Because your ego just wants you to survive. Your self wants you to be, the self is really just living right now as Eckhart Tolle, unbelievable book, The Power of Now. And through quantum physics, amazing, I think it's, what's his name? Brian Greene. I have a couple of Brian Greene books over there. And quantum physics is that there really is no, if you really think about space and time, and they call it space-time? I think they call it space-time. Where it depends on how fast you're going. If you're going away from someone, time is actually slowing down. If you're coming towards someone, time is speeding up. It's really complicated. But in other words, they literally break it down to, and this is a really interesting fact, is they actually have something called light or sun minutes or light minutes. And that's essentially, or sound minutes, something where I think it's light minutes. In other words, every minute is a light year. So in other words, 8 light years away or something like that. I know I'm totally butchering it, but it takes 8 light minutes. In other words, 8 minutes for the sun's energy and light to actually hit you, to hit Earth. So in other words, by the time you actually are feeling the light on you, that happened 8 minutes ago. It was actually released 8 minutes ago. So there really is no past and present, or past and future. There's only the present. Humans, we think of the past, we think of the future, and that's our ego speaking. Our self is in the present. How do I feel right now? Okay, I know you probably have a ton of questions, but really it all boils down to, you don't need anything to be happy. You can be happy right now. You can be happy without anything at all. Achievement, success, social media. There's plenty of people, millions, probably billions of people on this planet with no social media, and they are extremely happy. There's people without homes or money or jobs that are extremely happy. You would look at them and you're like, that's crazy. But that's your ego speaking, because you think you need something to be happy. And I'm not saying go out there and quit your job and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying to do that, because you could be at any job. You are the one putting meaning on that job if you're happy or you're not happy. That's the difference, is that you're thinking that external job is actually causing you to be happy or not happy. You're actually putting so much power on your job or on a person or money or a boat or a house or social media acceptance that is able to actually change your emotion for you to be happy. Okay? So say you're smart. There's an example. I'll leave it on this because we're already pushing 14 minutes. By the way, when you watch my YouTube videos, watch it at 2 times the speed or 1.5 times the speed. It should be down over here, whatever. Say you're really smart or you're really pretty. Whatever you're really confident about. Say you are tall. And I walk up to you and I'm like, dude, you're short. You're like, what? I'm short? You're like, I'm 6'6". You don't believe that because you believe who you are is opposite. So say you're smart and you believe you're smart. Not that, and obviously this is all subjective, but say someone comes up to you and like, you're dumb, or you feel that you're pretty. And I go, you're not pretty. You're not handsome. You're like, what? What are you talking about? The reason that you believe it not to be true is because you feel you are that person. So say you're pretty and someone makes fun of you for not being pretty, you're like, no, I believe that I am this person. So if you believe you are fine, Nothing on the outside should affect your emotions. Nothing that happens to you. I take all the money away from you. Your identity is tied to the money. Now you feel that you lost, because your identity is tied to the money, you feel like you lost your identity, and which means that you lost yourself. Very complicated, but in short, you don't need anything on the outside. Subscribe to the videos, come out with a video. It's going to be quite often. Just follow me on Snapchat and Instagram. Those are my favorite ones. And obviously I have podcasts. I'll probably actually do a podcast right now, right after this. So follow that. All the links are below. Have an awesome day. Again, you don't need anything to be happy. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.